So I've been enjoying XDefiant a lot since the launch, but that doesn't mean that I don't think there's some things that I'd absolutely love to see changed or adjusted. So today, while we start to take a look ahead at Season 1's update coming later next week, I want to take a little bit of time to talk about a few things that I'd change if possible. Like if I had all the control in the world, this is what I'd do in hopes that maybe Season 1 maybe brings some of these adjustments, but we'll see. But anyways, as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What would you change if you had the opportunity? If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all things XDefiant as we gear up for Season 1, Black Ops 6 content as we get further into the summer, leading up to the launch later this fall, and more FPS content I'd love to have in the community. But for now, let's get into it. So the first thing I'd change here is kind of just like an easy one. Let's start out with just something that's a real nice underhand toss to knock out of the park. I would love to see a change to the non-skippable loading screen and boot sequence that still persists in 2024. This is my biggest first world problem as a gamer, that when I boot a game, I just want to button mash and get into the game as soon as possible, skip everything that would happen on startup. And I feel like XDefiant's loading screen just takes ages by comparison to even other games that have had non-skippable boot sequences. Like I always come back to Black Ops 3 in my mind as a prime example of a long loading sequence, and I'm pretty sure that's shorter than XDefiant's whole boot sequence by a long shot, but I could be wrong. But like I said, super first world warm-up change here that I'd make. Grand scheme of things, does it matter? No, but I'd love to see that change. It's just one of those things that irrationally bothers me. Next, health regeneration speed. This is one that may be a little controversial, I don't know, and I get from a developmental perspective the balance between making it too fast versus too slow, but personally speaking, I feel like it lasts maybe just quite literally a second too long in regards to starting the regen process. I'd love if we had an opportunity for an experimental playlist or weekend or something like that once a month maybe, where we get to see some of these changes that are proposed and then if they work in actual practicality or not. Because in my mind, I think shaving 1 second off that would be awesome, but I mean, maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe it wouldn't work. Maybe it wouldn't be too much. Maybe it would be too quick. Like obviously you need that risk and reward for challenging a gunfight so quickly after another. But again, I personally think that maybe just 1 second quicker might do wonders for the pace of engagements. Beyond changing it at a fundamental level, I also think that you could probably in the future introduce a passive for another faction in the future that could change the regeneration time. That might be something that turns into a competitive use faction at that point. I mean, we've already seen a health adjustment faction in Libertad, and then the Phantoms have an extra 20 HP to begin with, so messing with health values for a faction isn't necessarily a crazy thought by comparison. So that's one thing that I'd like to see changed as well. Next, weapon leveling pace. To me, there's two different things here that I think can absolutely really benefit the overall process of ranking up your weapons. And here, right up front, I totally get you need some sort of challenge here in XDefiant, something that lasts a little bit longer, and the weapons are right now exactly that. They do take quite a long time, and while I personally have no problem with it, at the same time, I think that they could be sped up a little bit. Either make that double weapon XP time that we have right now the standard, or make it at least 1.5 times speed, the regular at that point. So you get it a little faster, but not too fast per se. Or on the opposite side of things, I think one thing that could benefit greatly is allow for more items to end up granting more weapon XP, not just kills. I unfortunately jumped the gun with one of our XP guides by launch, where it seems like mostly it comes down to kills, though I do think that there's still something beyond that it's just not all kills, mathematically speaking, because I swear I've had rank ups well faster than the 18 kills that it would take with double XP active, not just quad even. So I think there might still be some underlying factor in there, but I mean, if you end up having objective score, if you end up having those medals count towards your weapon XP, I think that would be a nice way to sort of add a bit more production to that weapon pace, but also not necessarily take away from the sort of underlying grind. It just incentivizes playing a more objective or a more score-heavy type of way. That's just me, though. Next, desync and netcode. This is obviously something that has already been adjusted a few times and still is in continual motion for constant updates and changes. But just for the sake of mentioning the obvious, naturally this would be something that if I had a magic wand, everything would work out perfectly in terms of netcode, hit detection, all connection-based variables for the best possible playing experience. That's a truly no-brainer one. But again, just for the sake of being thorough, gotta put it on there. Because if I didn't, I guarantee everybody in the comments would be like, what do you mean you wouldn't fix the netcode? I would. Trust me, guys. Next, cosmetic prices. This is something that I kind of assumed would be the case with a free-to-play game. I mean, we don't have any base entry price point for the game, so it doesn't fund the game and the development at all up front, so it does rely on those things like microtransactions to keep the lights on. And from a business perspective, I understand, but I also feel like with some of the bundle prices I've seen since launch, I feel like it's just a little off balance, as in they're a bit too expensive for what you end up getting out of them. Like, in my mind, I see it two different ways. You either have a very expensive price bundle and have a ton of things in it with worthwhile items, or you have a cheaper bundle and sell more of them with just like a gun skin and a player card or something like that, but for way cheaper than what they're actually in the shop for right now. As it stands right now, it's this weird middle ground where you're not getting a whole ton of items per bundle, but the price is a little higher than what I personally think that it should be. So a little bit of that imbalance there that, again, just go one way or the other, but make it worthwhile either way you go. I don't really ever interact with items in the in-game storefronts for any game, and I surely don't make the big bucks at Ubisoft to make these decisions, but like with a basic level economic understanding, like, listen, I fully am aware I'm just an idiot talking on the internet. I get that. I do feel like, though, if you lowered those price points, more people would buy items, which in turn would supplement the revenues and cover the difference of the amount you'd probably sold in the higher price trial by comparison. Probably a horrible example, like truly probably awful, but off the top of my head, I think of like cars. A cheaper priced car is going to sell more than an expensive car. So like Mitsubishi's 2023 revenue was triple Ferrari's revenue. More sales for more affordable and more available cars. So same thing kind of goes for the bundles in, again, theory, the way that my mind works. But again, who knows? I'm just an idiot on the internet with a microphone. Next thing I'd change is adding a career rank and prestige mode. Obviously, prestige mode is going to be coming. We don't have any ETA on that, but I would love to see a career rank associated with all of that. Like, you of course can have however many prestiges you want with the game itself, and then having either hard cap or maybe like a level 1000 like Call of Duty's done in the past. But one thing that with this being a long-term game and something that's going to last 2, 3, 4, however many years they have planned out already, I think it'd be awesome that while you might have sort of like annual refreshes on these prestiges, I think it'd be sweet to long-term see how much of a grinder you were. So like maybe after 1 year you got to like career rank 1,350 or something like that. Year 2 you got to 2,700. So you get to see this incremental increase as time progresses, even though you could just be capped at that max level every single year, every time that those sort of max prestiges reset. I think that'd be awesome to see, but again, that might just be a sort of wishful thinking type thing. Next, the Dead Sec Spiderbot. This one is a more so minor complaint or thing that I'd change, because I get that it has its pros and cons, and it's very easy to just look down and shoot, but God, I hate them, man. They always seem to get me right as I'm going in a gunfight, and it's just the worst possible timing. So this one, I just changed like in general, just because it's on my annoying list. But anyways, next, more grindable rewards. I think it was at this point, a week or two back, somebody in a video mentioned that it was kind of crazy the only skins that are universal and free are the weapon rank ones. Only 3 out of potentially hundreds by season 1 perhaps, or something like that. So one thing that I would change is more to grind, more to keep players involved, really. I think that XDefiant has plenty of potential to keep players engaged, and I think that is the goal, but it's just a matter of how quickly substantial additions can be made. Can you introduce more mastery camos? Can you introduce seasonal challenges for camos and stuff like that? Can you introduce mastery operator skins or faction skins for that? That's stuff that I think could honestly be very beneficial to the long-term grind and keep people coming back day over day, because even as of recording this, as of the time of this video going live, I'm out of the country. I am not home for this entire week that you'll be seeing content. Even as of recording this video on the 13th or 14th, whenever I did it, it's something that I'm looking at comments and people are already saying like, hey, I've already ranked up the majority of my weapons and I'm kind of getting bored. Like, what else is there to do at this point? And to a degree, I actually do get that. Like, obviously, I'm still having fun. I'm still using weapons that are already maxed out just because I'm enjoying the game. But at the same time, like, if you're a grinder and you want a reason to play beyond just the enjoyment factor, there's not a whole ton right now in the preseason. So fingers crossed season 1 introduces that, but ideally I'd love to see that implemented in a broad stroke, introducing a lot of stuff all at once. Some gameplay stuff that I would love to see change is a way to get ammo in regular modes. Currently, Escort is the only way that you can 100% top of your ammo mid-life in-game. You have to interact with the package to get it, But in regular games, you can get more ammo, but you just have to get lucky that you run over another player's weapon that was dropped when they died, which might be easy if you're using like an ACR, AK, MP7 or something like that. But if you're using some more obscure guns, the SVD, the Mark 20, something like that, you're going to be hard pressed to find more. So whether as a class in an upcoming faction or just a more readily available way to pick up ammo, I think there just needs to be something. I did say from day one, I find DedSec to be almost useless to me personally, and how I play to the point where, like, if reprinting devices extended also to ammo, like a new magazine every 10 seconds or something like that, like, I genuinely think that I would use that faction as a top 3, maybe top 2 faction at that point, because I find myself running out of ammo on long streaks all the time, and that would be incredibly beneficial. So maybe in the future we get something amended for that, but for right now, I'd love to see a change that introduces a way to get more ammo in regular modes. Next, I'd love to see a way to counter grenade spam. I think a trophy system of some kind is going to be a very beneficial thing to the game if it ever does come. I think that this was mentioned that it will be coming, but not 100% sure off the top of my head. I've recorded so many videos in the last couple of days. My brain is mush right now. But final thing that I would say is a hard counter to some abilities. Not every faction, not every ability has a hard counter that you can sort of combat directly, where some things, again, very easy. The DedSec Spiderbot, as annoying as it is, as much as I hate it, you just got to look down and shoot from the direction that it came at. But if you have something like the Intel suit or the sonar goggles, even if you're cloaked, you're still visible here at that. So this might be a future fix, but I feel like there's just something that you need to consciously take as a counter, but countering one specific thing, not multiple. Like if you want to counter one specific item, you should know going in, you're only going to be able to counter that, but you're going to be able to counter that 100%. So that's just a thing that I think in a competitive sense would make sense, but we'll see if that actually happens. But anyways, that is my list of a few things that I would change within XDefiant. If, again, I had that magic wand, I could make any change that I wanted here to the game. I'm probably missing a decent number of things, but for right now, that's what I have off the top of my head, and I think that it could be something that it's a decent list. Feel free to let me know your thoughts down below if you guys would like to add anything to this as well that you guys think could be a beneficial change. Who knows? Maybe some of the devs see this, and maybe some of this feedback is taken into account, but we'll see. For now, though, that's where we're going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video or you agree with any of these points, and if you guys want to subscribe to stay up to date with all things XDefiant as well as other FPS content, I would love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care, and peace.